Thanks to our friend who supported the channel financially in the previous video. And before we start, don't forget to like, subscribe, and support the channel financially, Ryu inquired. What's going on? Jeffrey replied. Hello, Ryu Min Nim. I have something to report. Jeffrey had received orders from Yamti to serve Ryu like a master and report any incidents immediately. That's why he treated Ryu with such respect. Ryu said, Go ahead. Jeffrey said, Christine will be visiting Korea soon to meet you. Ryu inquired. Me? Why? He replied. She wants to know the location of Black Scythe through prophecy. She wishes to meet with you and thank you personally, along with her father. She also seeks clues about the necromancer. Now that he thought about it, Christine did have a fondness for him. She had persistently followed him in the other world. Ryu asked himself, does she really just want to express gratitude? Doesn't she have any other motives? Ryu couldn't understand why both Seo Arin and Christine were so eager to meet Black Scythe in reality. Meeting him wouldn't change anything. Then Ryu said, All right, end the call. There's no benefit in being caught talking to me. Jeffrey said, Understood. Goodbye. As the call ended, Ryu closed his eyes again, and he said to himself, To be honest, it was an easy problem to solve. Meet Black Scythe in reality? That will never happen. Not now, not ever. And, to make an ally, it's more beneficial to leave a debt than to meet and repay it. Leaving them feeling guilty ensures they will always be willing to help. He added, I'll deny knowing anything about the Grim Reaper. The same goes for the necromancer. In fact, Ryu needed Christine for the 12th round, but he couldn't give her any information. Then he said, Besides, the organization Messiah is about to be established, and the necromancer is likely to become a member. And to establish a connection with the international organization Messiah, I needed to keep the necromancer alive. So denying knowledge of Black Scythe and the necromancer would solve the problem. And what could she do if he claimed he hadn't foreseen it? After all, it was the prophet holding the leash. Ryu added, Instead, I'll give her information about the 12th round. That would be enough to satisfy Christine. As he thought about this, his phone vibrated again. It was a call from Ma Kyung-rok. Ryu said, Yes, President. Ah, I see. All right, let's meet then. It was a request to meet Christine together, as expected. But Ryu's expression wasn't pleasant after hanging up, and he said, Looks like I won't be getting any sleep. Sleep had completely eluded him. On the other hand, 12 hours had passed since returning from the other world, but John Delgado hadn't left his bed. In fact, he couldn't get up, as the vivid memories of his limbs being severed in the other world lingered, and he asked himself, Are my limbs still attached? Lying down, he wiggled his fingers and toes to check. They moved fine, but he still couldn't muster the courage to get up. The awkwardness made it feel unreal that his limbs were intact, but he couldn't stay lying down forever, so he forced himself up. He walked slowly as if undergoing rehabilitation. As he walked through the living room, he recalled the one who put him in this state, Black Scythe. He was overwhelmed by the urge to kill that bastard. But John Delgado was a rational man. He knew he couldn't kill him with his own strength. Revenge was out of hand in this situation. Then he said, Revenge? I should be satisfied with what I've achieved. Though he didn't kill the Saintess, he achieved his goal by killing her followers. With the rival faction destroyed, he just needed to expand the Church of Despair. He added, If I grow stronger, I might get the chance to tear that bastard's face apart. Thinking this, John let out a self-deprecating laugh. He had just decided revenge was out of hand. Yet here he was, thinking about it. Then he sighed and said, I need to let it go. There's no chance. Just then, the doorbell rang, making him think a delivery had arrived. But when he opened the door, there stood a man. John inquired, Who are you? The man asked. Are you John Delgado, the necromancer? John quickly equipped his gear and asked, Who are you? How did you find my place? He pointed his staff menacingly, but the man raised his hands to calm him and said, I'm not here to fight. John inquired. Then why are you here? He said, I'm just here to give you a business card. The man really did just pull out a business card from his pocket. John took it and read the group's name and nickname, and he inquired, Messiah affiliation? Spaniard? The man replied. We're recruiting individuals suitable for the 12 apostles of our newly established international organization, Messiah, John inquired. The 12 apostles? He replied. It's an executive position made up of the top-ranked individuals from each country. We came to recruit you, the top in the U.S. John inquired, "So you're saying you'll give me an executive position in Messiah if I join?" the man said. "Exactly. Are you interested?" John Delgado pondered briefly before speaking. Then he said, "Just one question," the man said. "Go ahead," John asked. "Is Black Scythe also joining the 12 apostles?" The man shook his head sadly and said, "No." John inquired, "Why not?" "Black Scythe of Korea would be a top priority for recruitment." The man spoke in a low voice after a pause. "Messiah was found to fight against Black Scythe." John inquired in shock. "Fight against Black Scythe." Seeing John's shocked expression, the man elaborated, saying, "As you know, Black Scythe is an unrivaled existence at level 90. We, barely reaching level 50, have no choice but to be dragged around by him," John asked. "So you're creating a means to counter him?" the man replied. "Yes, just as employees form a union to counter a company's unjust practices, we need to unite. We can't let someone as unpredictable as Black Scythe continue to grow unchecked." As John nodded in agreement, the man sensed victory. He was almost convinced. Then he inquired, "So, will you join Messiah?" For John Delgado, who had been grinding his teeth in frustration a moment ago, it was an easy decision, and he said, "Of course I will, damn it. But the Church of Despair is not an official religion. It was a cult, hence not well known even in the United States. So it was natural for John Delgado to have doubts, and he asked, "How did you find me?" His tone was more polite when he addressed the man. Hearing that the man was one of Messiah made him feel the need to mind his manners. It was also because he thought of him as a comrade on the same mission to defeat the Black Scythe. The man said, "While inquiring about the top ranker in the U.S., I met someone who knew you, a believer of the Church of Despair. Thanks to him, we could track your location," John said. "To think he dared to sell my face without permission. What a rat-like bastard," the man said. "He went by the nickname Berber." John's mouth opened in disbelief, and he said in shock, "Berber?" The guy was one of his most trusted subordinates. The man said, "Don't be too harsh on him. He didn't betray you. He provided your location knowing it was an offer you'd like." John said, "That guy. I'll still have to scold him later." Then the man said, "Ah, we've arrived." John, who was grumbling, got out of the car with the Spaniard at the mention of their arrival. They had reached a remote forest. The man said, "Let's go. It's quite a walk from here." After walking through the forest for about 30 minutes, a small cabin came into view. John inquired, "Is that where the meeting is held?" He replied, "Yes." John inquired, "With so many cafes and other places, why here?" The man said, "It's a gathering of top-ranked players. It's better to be in a place that draws less attention. We might end up fighting due to differences in opinion." John said, "True, it would be noisy if we started using skills and clashing swords. Since it was the first meeting, they had to be extra cautious, not knowing what might happen." He asked, "So, are all the top players from each country gathered inside?" The man replied, "Yes. 3 days ago, with you as the last addition, the recruitment of the 12 apostles was completed, but not everyone could attend. Some had difficulty coming to the U.S. With that, the Spaniard opened the cabin door. 6 people sat with bored expressions around a wooden table inside. They were top-level players from various countries, with different hair colors and races. One asked, "How long were you planning to keep us waiting, Spaniard? Do you want us to die of boredom?" The Spaniard laughed and said, "Sorry to keep you waiting." He inquired, "Is that the last apostle?" The Spaniard replied, "Yes, everyone. Please introduce yourselves. This is necromancer John Delgado, the top ranker in the U.S. and the leader of the Church of Despair." As the Spaniard introduced him, everyone's attention turned to John. The first to rise was a man who said, "I've heard a lot about you. Nice to meet you. I'm the first warrior." John frowned as he shook his hand. Then most shook hands with John, but one person remained seated. John inquired, "Who's that guy?" An Asian sat arrogantly with his arms crossed, as if he had no intention of greeting. The Spaniard said, "Yang Chiwen. We're going to be seeing each other, so let's exchange greetings." The Chinese man asked, "Why should I?" The Spaniard looked troubled at the Chinese man's audacious attitude. John asked again, "Who's that?" The Spaniard replied, "He's Yang Chiwen, who ranked second in the 11th round. He's a Chinese ranker and the top figure in the Black Society." John inquired, "Black Society?" John couldn't be unaware of the infamous global crime organizations like the Mafia or Yakuza. It was just absurd that a criminal showed such disrespectful behavior. Yang Chiwen said, "What are you looking at, damn Westerner?" John said, What did you say? If you have something to say it in English. He didn't like how the man mumbled in Chinese, despite being able to speak English.